Hello, in this example I'm going to show you how to create a class. In this case we have a chain of hotels, so we're going to have a class hotel for each of the different hotels, and we're going to set up some attributes, and we're going to set them as private attributes so nobody can access the content of, or to change or to read the content of those attributes. And what we're going to do is get a group of getters and setters. So basically we're going to define methods that are going to be either to set a particular attribute or to read a particular attribute. Okay, so set name or get name. Set name will change the value of the name of the hotel to something different. Get name will read that attribute name. And we do the same for all the attributes. City, get city, set city, number of rooms, rating, and price. So if you see here, when we define the class hotel, that's the name of our class, we create our constructor. We're saying that we require the name of the hotel for each of the instances to create a new instance, and each of the attributes we're starting the name of the attribute with a double underscore. That means that once we create an instance, say we create a hotel 1, we won't be able to read the name of the hotel by saying hotel1.name. It will just say it doesn't exist, and instead we will have to define the method getName and then say hotel1.getName bracket bracket, and that will return the actual name of the hotel. Okay, another thing we have on this example, we have all our set name, get name, set city, get city, and so on, rooms, the rating, the price. So two methods for each of the attributes, one for setting it, another one for getting it. Then the other thing we have on this example is we have a function here. It's not inside the class, it's not a method of the class, it's a function of this particular file, hotels.py, where I have created all the instances that we have originally. So I have hotel1, it's an instance of class hotel, and remember we said we required the name to create a new instance. Star is the name of this hotel. Then we're setting the city, the number of rooms, the rating, the price. Second hotel is another instance of the class hotel. Name, number of rooms, rating, price. In this case we're not setting the city. Remember that on the constructor at the very beginning we can decide the value of the default values basically. So if we don't specify the city is going to be Dublin for all the hotels that we create new. And the same for number of rooms, default is 100, the rating by default is 5, and the price by default is 100. Okay, so we have this long list of hotels. We have 10 different hotels. Some of them have more attributes specified than others, and in the case where it's not specified, you're taking the defaults. Okay, then what we're doing is getting that function hotel chain to return the list of all our initial hotels. So it literally just says hotel 1, hotel 2, all the way till hotel 10. Okay, in this particular file, this is just a previous version, so we're not actually doing anything on the main. We don't even need to have the main here. Okay, the idea is that now we can open up the file where we're going to be working. Okay, that's better. And we're gonna, from hotels, which remember is the name of the other file with the class and the function, import, and we're gonna import just the function hotel chain. Because in this case what we are going to be doing is just reading the list. So initial hotels is the name of my variable in this particular program. It's going to get the value that gets returned by hotel chain. Remember, hotel chain initializes all the different hotels. Okay, this is hotel chain. Gives all the initial, creates the instances, and then gives them the particular values and puts them in a list and returns that list. That list then gets stored in this list, initial hotels. And the question in this case is ask the user for a filter criteria, in this case the minimum rating they're looking for, and you're gonna iterate through the elements of the list, through all the hotels that are initially in that list, and read their rating with the method getRating. Remember, we don't have access to the actual attribute, we need to use getRating, and if the value of the rating is greater or equal to the minimum requirement that the user has told us they need, the number of stars they need as minimum, if it is greater or equal to, then we print that particular hotel, or we could add it to a separate list or display it in a different way. Okay, now I have this line here commented. If we wanted, as part of this main, to create new instances of the class hotel, so say we have a menu where we're given the user of the program the option to create a new hotel and give it new values for the attributes, then you would need to have access to the actual class if you're going to create a new instance. In our case, because we're only reading, we only need to use the function hotel chain, and that means that your code is a lot neater. Everything, all the boring instantiation is done beforehand, and here we're just dealing with, this is the list, and then read the values that are coming and do whatever filtering that we need to do. Now, a common question is, why are we doing the getting and setting? Okay, and the idea is that when we're setting the name, let's say we're setting the rating, actually let's go down to the rating. Okay, so in this method set rating, we could include here a condition. So say we only want values that are between 1 star and 5 stars. So we can say if rating, the one the user is trying to set as the rating for this particular instance, is greater than 6, or say greater than 5, sorry, then return or print only between 1 and 5, and else then we can set the rating. Okay, we could also have a elif or an and here to check that the value is not below 1. Okay, so we can add check-in conditions before we are sending, so they're kind of like stored in here, and we don't need to do it in the main code when we're setting the values or in the moment where we're creating the instances of the classes. If I can find it. So here, if the user says set rating to 10, what we're going to get is a message that says careful, repeat this, because that's not going to work. Okay. So main principle, we can have our class definition, then make all the attributes private, then create for each of the attributes a get attribute and a set attribute. If we need some validation of the values, it can be done here. Then we can create, in this case, the kind of more compact way to do it is create a function that creates all the instances and returns the list, and then we import that particular function that creates all the instances. When we call this function here, creates all the instances, puts them on a list and sends that list to this value here. So our code now to deal with the hotels is a lot neater. If we need to create a new hotel, add a new hotel, we can add it to our list initial hotels. Okay, so that's it for this example.